everybody, it's me, Jermaine, and I'm back in with another Simple Truth update. And this is a follow-up. This is part 2 of the update I did about a week ago that was entitled The War Against Off-Grid Living. Now, first and foremost, I want to put a few disclaimers out here before I move on to this update. First and foremost, I do realize and I do understand that the situation that I am speaking about, and I will include a link to the article that I'm talking about today. It was a lady in a certain part of Florida that was attempting to live off grid. Now, as far as I have been informed, because many people hit me back, oh, well, Jermaine, you have to understand that this is in a gated or restricted community in a certain part of Florida. I understand that. I understand that. I did not make that clear when I first spoke about it. But it is not the fact of where it is when it comes to the mindset. See, the Bible teaches us, and Paul said, the only way that we can, the change can come is by the renewing of our mind. Okay, I want it to be understood that it's not the fact that the legal hurdles and ramifications that are happening, because see, what has happened is a judge has, pretty much has ruled and stated that it is definitely illegal to do this type of off-grid living. But what I am sharing with you with this episode of The Simple Truth is the fact that I want you to be very cognizant of what is going on here. That if you make the attempt to live outside of the 9 dots or the box that the system that is, has created, you will be vilified, demonized, ostracized, and even outcast and penalized for doing such things. It is all about the mindset. See, this country, for the biggest majority of the early part of the late 19th and 20th century, and I could be wrong, forgive me if I'm getting my timeline, we're talking about the times of our grandparents, some of you, your great-grandparents. But it was more common to live outside of a city limits than it was to live inside of a city limit. The dynamic has changed to the point where it's just the opposite. When you live in the city or near the city, that's the right thing to do. But when you live outside the city or in what most people deem it today, the boondocks or out in the country, you're considered aloof. You're considered weird. You're a weirdo for wanting to do those type of things. But now, it's not about a matter of it being a choice anymore. Now it's becoming a situation that when you choose not to want to use their health care, you want to use herbs and natural means of healing yourself, they have the FDA, one of the alphabet organizations, that are going to tell you, oh, that's wrong. And then, well, the FDA as far as using those certain things, but then you have your different health organizations that say, can't do that. The medical association say, oh, you can't do that. You can't, no, you've got to come and see us. You've got to take that pharmaceutical medicines. Then when it comes to eating, that's when the FDA comes into it. Oh, you can't grow your own. You have to eat what we give you. And there's a little thing that is happening with that. The movement to the so-called organic movement has become so strong that they've even had to kind of mess with that, where they put organic on it, but do you really know Or do you really trust whether it's organic or not? So that's another part of it. And then we have the part of wanting to live a life that is not dominated by the hustle and bustle, being on the golden treadmill and just continue and do and do and do for the quote unquote system. You want to kind of come out of the matrix and you want to kind of just be to yourself. They don't want to have that. That is the mindset that is happening. And it is something that we must be aware of. And we must be, we must keep in the forefront of our mind and not let it be something that's a part of our subconscious. And so I not only say it's a war against off-grid living, but it's a war against living as the Most High has commanded for those that are His to live. They don't, the Bible teaches us to come out from among them and be separate, be set apart. Well, if these rulings start very small and they become more and more and more and greater, before you know it, the different battles start to feed in to what I entitled this in the very first place, a war against simply living different. A war against wanting to be able to make up your own mind to how you and your family should live, how you should eat, how you should care for yourself. It's something to ponder. It's something to be aware of. And if you are a follower and a believer and one that is obedient to the Creator, it's something that you must begin to prepare yourself for. Because He did say that we will be persecuted for His name's sake. Are you ready? That's the question I have for you. Are you ready for what's coming? If you choose to be separate and be different. This has been the simple truth. And as I always tell you, it's the simple things that are oftentimes the most profound, but yet they're the most difficult to put into practice and to actually do. I want to thank you for joining me, and I'll be sure to see you, and you again on another episode real soon.